Hey everyone, this is Fred of Kaz-Magic Arts. Thank you for tuning into another video of Learning to Draw. In the last video, we actually learned how to draw a female body from uh, being more basic and actually it's going into the advanced techniques of actually giving them more sensual curves. Now, in this lesson, we're going to actually concentrate on learning how to draw males. When it comes to drawing a male, they have a more hard, sturdy upper body compared to the females. So grab your pencils and paper and let's get started. Alright, so as I was mentioning, the male's body is more hard and edgy, and they have much more broad shoulders that you have to actually watch out for, while the lower part of their body is more, how can I say it, straightforward. But in my opinion, I would say that a male's body is sort of like how it would be as if you're using drawing a microphone, and you know how a microphone looks is that a big head at the top. Okay, not all males have big heads, but still, uh, more like straight compared to a female. As I was saying about a female has more of like a Coke bottle figure and it's like a figure eight, and a male is also like the letter I, if you want to think about it, like a lowercase I. So that's also another thing to keep in mind. All right, so I'm just gonna give you an example of how we do the male's upper body, and hopefully this will not turn into a two-part video like the other one was. All right, so let's say, for instance, that I'm actually drawing this head right here. And once again, as I was mentioning before, you could take a look back at some of my older videos about some of the more detailed drawings of how to draw the human anatomy. Alright, so I drew my head, and I just pretty much made a block right there, along with the shoulders. And guess we'll go ahead and take it on down to the pelvic area. And we'll start with just that example right there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and actually draw the outline like what I was doing for the female body. So that right there is my face, as I've done the outline for that. And so here in this area, I'm actually going to draw a line here to create distance of where it's going to separate from the head. So, see, about coming down to here, drawing another line, because this here, this whole general area here is going to be your abdomen. Not including this area here. This right here is more like I said, the pelvic area. But this general area is the abdomen, while this area here, like the upper part of it, is more like your chest, your sternum area, and the whole rib cage. So, how do we want to figure this out? So, first things first is that we go ahead and actually draw out the ears for the face. Just go ahead and get that out of the way. And draw the details in for the male's face and all. I'm not gonna actually draw like the whole eye set and the nose and all. All right, so got that part right there done, and now we're getting down to this upper part of the body here. So we just want to concentrate on that before we actually get down to the pelvic area. All right, so you got your chest, which is going to be this middle part right here. Now, the thing about the chest area is that when I was a kid, I used to think that, just drawing the chest in like a little curve like that, but that's not the case. Since I actually had the anatomy for the artist, it was much more detailed. And I actually have taken some live nude art classes when I was going to school in Tampa, Florida, to actually help me learn the dimensions of just the human anatomy in general. So really just taking classes and actually reading certain books really helps with like a lot of info that you probably missed out on. So got my chest area drawn out right here. This here is going to be my ribs. Now, here's the thing. The male shoulders is much more broad, as I was mentioning before. So you don't want to forget your neck as well, as you see me drawing right there. So you got that upper part of the chest, and then you see your shoulder blades right here, those two lines. Now, getting down to this area here, like I said, this is your abs. So let's go ahead and actually draw that out a little bit more. All right, so now you got your ribs and you got your ab area. So see about actually getting those abs actually showing. It doesn't have to be totally detailed, but you just want to have a slight detail there. Got my rib showing. All right, so I got that general area done. Now down to my pelvic. Basically like how we did in the previous video with the pelvic area of the female body. Just actually getting this done. And this right here is going to be the upper part of the the hip area. So now you were seeing what I was saying about how the male's body is actually very straight, kind of like a microphone in a sense, or more like the letter I. So say that, for instance, that this here is the dot, and this area here is more like the line. So in other words, you get the letter I. I hope that makes some kind of sense of what I was saying about that. I know that a lot of other people have a different way of how they explain it, but to me, it seems like that was a much more preferred way to give you a general clue of what I was talking about. So let's gonna try this again in a much more profile view. So this is the frontal view. So now I want to try doing it in a profile view. All right, so got that. Then we got, that's what I forgot to draw right there. I forgot to draw the neck. So that's my apologies there, but don't forget your neck area. Now, usually what I'll do for this line right here, this is actually representing the core of the human body. That's what that's representing. That's why I drew that straight line right there. And when I first got started at actually drawing, well, not when I first got started, but when I was actually taking the anatomy for the artist lessons, I was actually drawing my own basic skeletal system. So I used to just put my reels back here, but that's no longer the case now that I've actually gotten a little bit more technical with the lessons that I've learned. All right, so drawing the shoulder right here. And you see I got the pelvic area down here as well. All right, so I want to actually still go ahead and draw the outline for the face right there. All right, so let's see about putting the whole thing into details. Let me readjust this camera so that way you guys can actually see what's going on here. There we go. I'm still working out ways. I'm actually learning how to film for you guys. All right, so there's my neck. And there's the facial features of the male. All right. Now, you don't have to exactly go by 100% of how the body is actually laid out. You do, however, want to actually come up with your own basic shape, as of what you see what I am doing here. So you see this back area of where it's like uh the butterfly wings is going to be, and then you see the chest area. So let's go ahead and draw a line right there, and also draw that line right here as well, and here where my separation parts are. And then we'll draw one other line here for the pivot area. All right, so let's concentrate on this chest area first. All right, so we got that. Now we're moving over to the shoulder to add in not too much of a detail, but just actually have something to show there in general. All right, so now we're working on our back and moving on down to the abdominal area. All right, and then the pelvic area along with the hip area. Drawing in a little details for the abs. All right, so let's see about erasing some of those details to see how it all turned out. Oh, sorry, forgot to draw the ear. That's gonna drive me insane. All right, see what results we have. All right, so that's the profile view that you're seeing here. Oops, wrong side. All right, so now let's work on erasing some of these details for the frontal. All right. So I hope that that was a very good explanation of the upper part of the male body. And we see how the results have turned out. So that's actually very good. So let's move on down to, I would say, the leg area. Now, the thing about the leg area, okay, that's the wrong side that I don't want to use. Give me just a second. All right, there we go. All right, so about the leg area, still the same concept. Is basically being connected to the upper part of the body. So let's try and actually map out the lower leg area. I'm sorry, the leg area just in general. So there's my hip, and the sockets for the legs. There's my kneecaps. I didn't say patella this time. I know in the last video I said patellas a lot. And you got your ankles all down to your feet. All right, so go ahead and map out this area here, and that area, and this area here. All right, so I'm going to start off with drawing in the details of the male's hip. And here's the thing about the male's legs. They're muscular, but they're not as muscular as the upper part of the male's body. As we were talking about with the females have more muscle in their leg, which is why they were able to give birth or many other things. The reason why the male have more development in the upper body is for heavy lifting and being able to do other tasks that requires them to be able to use the upper part of the human body. So, drawing out just the details here. And then drawing out the knees. Drawing out the lower part of the legs. And this is actually a little bit more simple than the upper body. But you see the whole idea of what I have done there. So let's try that again in a profile view. Alright, got that. And then there's the socket for the hip. Got the upper part of the leg, lower part of the leg, and then the ankle, and then the foot. Alright, so once again, I'm going to add my little map so that way you guys can actually see where I'm doing my separation. And we will proceed with the whole detailing. And keep in mind, this is actually the profile view that we're doing. So, see how this general area here are where the legs are actually kind of got that wide upper part of the lower part of the legs. So, here's the thing about the males, well, the legs in general. This part of the leg is always going to actually be curved in, while this part kind of extends a little bit at the upper part of it, of the lower leg, and then it curves right back into where the ankle is. And the same concept goes on here. And as you can see with this general area, this is actually straight. So you don't see the curve of the hip actually extending out on either sides. You actually see it still being straight for the male's body. So I want to actually go ahead and erase these so that way you can actually see what I've done. Alright, so just added a little bit more muscle detail. It doesn't have to actually be spectacularly muscular, but you just want to have some form of shape going on for that. Next video I'm going to actually concentrate on would be the hands, because even to this day I still have trouble with hands, and it's like no matter, even if I get a lot of practice, it's just the hands in general are always going to be the most difficult part of the human body to master. All right, so you see the way that the legs have actually turned out. Like I was mentioning before, is actually very straight. Like for the profile view, yeah, you see that it's actually very muscular on one part. Now you can actually just make like different shapes of legs. Like sometimes you would have um legs that would actually extend out this far, and it actually depends on the human body of what you're actually going for. Because I've actually seen people actually draw legs out this far, and there are actually people with shapes like that on their bodies in general, and then they would have like a very small part of the lower leg. So just pretty much like expand out your creativity on how you actually want to draw your human body in general, and you may just actually say like, okay, I want to extend this out a little bit and extend this out just a little bit here. So it's all about mapping of what you want to do with the body, the human body in general. So let's do one more example here on just the entire male body. So I'm actually going to go straight for with what I do in general. And you see about actually using I've used so many references to where I will add in like some kind of slight curve here or here maybe. But the thing is that the male's body is not as sensual as the female, so you're not really going to be working with a lot of curves in general. You're just actually really displaying how the muscles will actually be in place. And yes, do use a lot of reference video, no sorry, photos that you can find just anywhere. All right, so let's see about extending these arms out. And I won't go into too much detail about the arms. We'll save that for another lesson. But I just want to include that in there. All right, so now that I've actually got this going, add in my legs. I'm actually kind of giving him like a power up pose or something. All right, so I got this mapped out. So let's see how this is actually going to turn out. Let's extend that right there. All right. All right, so now you see where I'm actually about to add in my rib area, but I'm actually doing it in a way of where it's semi-profile, but it's not exactly frontal either. And notice that I'm actually not using my mapping out area, but I will go back and actually map out the detailed areas. All right. And just add in that shoulder there, and that shoulder there. And now you see where I actually got the whole fledge of it drawn out. Now, I didn't go into the whole details of the arms. I just didn't want you guys to have to go too far ahead of yourselves. I just wanted you to actually concentrate on what we actually just covered in this lesson. I mean, but if you do want to actually give a shot with the arms, then yes, be my guest. Nothing hurts for you to actually want to actually, move forward with that. But as you can see, go ahead and put my line here, another line there. And now this area here, since this is the chest, and then it moves on to the abdominal area, this is my midline here. And so we're moving on down to the pelvic area with the hips. And down to the kneecaps, onto the ankles and the feet. So I hope that this lesson actually helped out on you guys actually knowing like your different areas. And I'm just gonna add in more details while I'm actually talking about it. I really want to try to give a great lesson on just doing human bodies in general. And I know it's been a while since I actually post a video. I've been dealing with a lot of personal issues and also been dealing with my day job. So definitely going to try to get back on track for you guys. And I've even changed up my schedule at work just to be able to bring you guys more videos like this. All right. And I hope this video was good for you guys. You guys have yourselves a great night. If you want to, feel free to check out my Patreon page. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.